let's get into this final topic. I don't know how long this is going to go, but this is one of my favorite topics right here. The Mount Rushmore of basketball. If you don't know Mount Rushmore, take a geography or a history lesson. Mount Rushmore is 4 presidents chiseled into rock. So, when people say who's on the Mount Rushmore of whatever, it's the 4, it's not the 4 best players, right? Because then it would be a lot easier, right? I think my 4 best players of all time are probably, Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, and I flip-flop Magic and Bird all the time, but I'll say Magic. You can say Kobe, you can say, Shaq, Wilt, Bill Russell, any of them. You can go with that, but it's not the 4 best. It's like the 4 most important. The guys that maybe they affected the game a ton, or, they were really an icon, or they helped inspire people, whatever it is. That's what helps get you there. A guy that I think, if he had done a little bit more in his career, could be on the Mount Rushmore, would be a guy like Allen Iverson. I don't think he's on there right now, but the way that he was able to be an icon in terms of style and personality in the NBA was very influential. So, that boosts your score, right? I personally think, Kawhi Leonard's probably a better basketball player than Allen Iverson. And I love AI, but Kawhi's, super good. But how much of an impact does Kawhi have on the game of basketball? It's pretty limited. Because you don't hear about him. He doesn't talk to anybody. He just goes out there, plays, and goes back home. Totally fine. 2 different styles. But I'm going to start off. I'm going to give my Mount Rushmore. And then we'll talk about whether or not Steph Curry should be on the Mount Rushmore. Because I've seen a lot of people talking about Mount Rushmore and having Curry and not having Curry. But I'm going to start off. Number 1, I think, has to be Bill Russell. I mean, outside of the 11 championships, I talked about him, rest in peace to Bill Russell. But, first black coach in the history of the NBA. One of the first black players in the NBA, super successful, super dominant, helped to create the biggest rivalry, maybe in the history of sports. He deserves to be on there. He also, after his career, still had a major impact on the game of basketball, as a whole. So I think he's on there. I think he has to be on there. Next guy on there I have is Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan, the way that he played the game of basketball, it became, you got to be like Mike. That was the saying, right? Got to be like Mike. Pretty sure a movie is called Like Mike. But the way that, not just him playing basketball, but it was the way he played where everyone saw it and was like, I want to do that. After Michael Jordan played, because Michael Jordan played in the era of the big men, right? There was a ton of big men playing in the NBA, late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. That was the era of the big man, right? You have Hakeem, you've got Patrick Ewing, towards the tail end of that, you've got the Admiral, you've got a ton of, obviously, Dikembe, Shaq. There's a lot of guys. But people didn't want to be like those big guys because Michael Jordan was like, you got to hit the mid-range shots, you got to get those flashy dunks, and you got to play a little bit of hard defense. And everyone kind of wanted to be like that. And what followed that? What followed Michael Jordan's era? That was the 2000s era. 2000s era is typically seen as the least efficient basketball era of all time. Why? Because everyone wanted to be like Michael Jordan. It was all about, the focal point of 2000 basketball was Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant's that was Michael Jordan. But, in a Lakers uniform, basically. He modeled everything after him. He had to hit those mid-range shots. And we just saw so many players trying to replicate that. Trying to take that slower game of basketball, get those cool dunks, and do all that stuff. Michael Jordan changed the way basketball was played. He also had a major impact on the shoe game. The way that he was able to get those personalized endorsements that, just really took off. Also very impactful, but I think I have to have Michael Jordan on there. Number 3, this one's very tough. This is when it starts to get very difficult because, again, LeBron James, first greatest basketball player of all time, right? And I think I have to put him on here because he is that great. I don't want to, actually, but I'm going to put him on there. LeBron James, the way that he plays the game of basketball, he was able to evolve his career because he came into the league in 2003, and it was the very inefficient, athletic-based, type of offense. And now he's kind of transitioned, and now it's like, yes, LeBron's a freaky athlete, but I mean, he can shoot the ball. He's always been a great playmaker, but it's more focused on playmaking, I think, than it was initially. And he's shown that guys can transform their career. And I think that's huge in the history of basketball, right? Because a lot of times guys come into the league and they want to stay that same player. They want to be, maybe they come into the league and they're the sharpshooter. They want to be the sharpshooter their entire career. LeBron James was able to come in and he was like, yeah, I'm going to be that athletic freak and I'm going to play for 20. I mean, he may play for 30 years, but I'm going to play for 20 years. And whatever happens with the game of basketball, I'm going to adapt. And I'm going to be as smart as anybody else out there on the court, and I'm going to dominate, and I'm going to win championships. LeBron James dominated the 2000s to 2010s era of championships and NBA finals and the playoffs. You turn on a playoff game, it's probably LeBron James. You turn on a primetime game, TNT, whatever it is, ESPN, it's probably a LeBron James game. That impact is felt. Then the final spot, this is when we're bringing up Steph and Curry. It comes down to a lot of different guys. Kareem, Magic, Kobe. Those are all great options, and I don't fault anybody for choosing them. Heck, if you want to throw Wilt in there, I wouldn't throw George Mikan in there, but if you want to throw the 50s legend, George Mikan in there, go for it. But I do put Steph and Curry there. And you may ask why. And I'm going to repeat what I said at the beginning of this segment, where I say Mount Rushmore isn't about the 4 best players of all time. It's about the 4 most impactful and the 4 most influential. And Stephen Curry has been influential. And I know that there's a lot of people that will say, Steph Curry didn't invent the three-point shot. They were already shooting more threes when Steph Curry got into the league and stuff like that. And it was already increasing, which is true. But that's not why every kid in America grabs a basketball and they don't want to shoot layups. Even when they're 4 years old, they don't want to shoot layups. Where do they want to stand? They want to stand at half court. And they want to throw it in. I think he's got that same like Mike effect. Because the difficult thing, I don't think LeBron James has this. Because no one else can be LeBron James. No one is going to be that big and that strong and that fast. Maybe there will be. But it's going to be very rare. Thing about Steph Curry is any kid can feel like Steph Curry. Any kid. Any kid in the world can grab a basketball, they can walk out to the three-point line, and they can try and shoot it. And when they make it, may not be the first try, may not be the second try, may not be the 100th try, but when they do make it, they're going to feel like Steph Curry. And that's going to encourage them to keep shooting those shots. A lot of kids don't grab a basketball and say, let me hit this Tim Duncan, elbow bank shot. It's not seen very much anymore. I'm from Portland. After Damian Lillard hit the buzzer beater against the Houston Rockets, everyone was trying to do the Dame shot, running across the court, catch it, throw it up. No one was really making it. But Stephen Curry has had that impact throughout, the last 8 years. 2014, 2015. That's kind of when it really started to take off. Every kid growing up wants to be able to shoot, and we're seeing it from every aspect of the game. The big men come into the NBA, and what are they doing? They're shooting. And you're like, why are they shooting? They're 7'1". It's because they weren't always 7'1". We hear all these stories, guys like Anthony Davis. It happens to a lot of people. Chet Holmgren, coming in. He's seen as a unicorn. When they're in freshman year of high school, when they're younger, they weren't the biggest guys on the team. And so, what were they doing? They were working on that three-point shot. And they were working on the handle. And they were trying to develop that aspect of the game. Why? Because it's not cool to be like Embiid and Jokic. I think they're probably 2 top 5 players in the NBA. I gotta fix this. Get it to re-zoom in on my face. There we go. But it's not as fun. It's not as cool. 3 is worth more than 2. So I want to work on the three-point shot. So everyone, When you're analyzing draft prospects, which I do because I'm an OKC fan and we need the draft capital, everyone's looking at it and they're like, can he shoot? That's the first thing that most people look at. Can he shoot? Why? Because that's what most people want. They want someone that can shoot. They want someone like Steph and someone like Clay. They want someone like those Golden State Warriors have had. LeBron James and the 2016 Cavaliers won the championship. But kids weren't going out there saying, I want to shoot like Kyrie. I want to shoot like LeBron. I want to shoot like, J.R. Smith. Maybe some people were saying, I want to be bald like Richard Jefferson. I don't know. But it was, I want to go out there and I want to shoot like Steph. Even though they lost. I want to shoot like Steph because I can do that. I can't dunk like LeBron. I probably can't play defense like Kawhi Leonard. I can't do any of this because it's difficult. And it's hard to see playing really good defense in a pickup game. One, it's really annoying. Like, stop doing that. I'm not very good at basketball, so I get annoyed when people are good at defense. But you can grab a ball, and you can be by yourself, and you can shoot. And when people are shooting and they're trying to get better, and they're just having fun, this is what I did. When I was a kid, when I was growing up playing basketball, it was Kobe. I mean, it was run, throw it off, shoot a bank shot, try and knock it down, post fade away, throw it back. Like, that's what I was trying to do. I was like, I want to be like Kobe. I'm throwing random hook shots. I'm like, that's why I played basketball. I wanted to be like Kobe Bryant. I wanted to make the difficult shots. Like, that was the fun part. I was like, oh yeah, just, throw it behind the back. Like, just do everything possible to score. But now, when I go out there, I would love to be able to go out there and just be like, oh yeah, I want to hit all these shots. But I'm like, no, I don't think I'm really going to make those shots. But I can maybe hit some threes. And even if I don't hit a high percentage, I can hit them. And when I hit them, it makes me feel good. Stephen Curry impacted the game of basketball, not just from, now more people shoot threes in the NBA, but from the kid on their, maybe it's the park, maybe it's, his driveway, whatever it is, it made that kid want to shoot threes more because it gave him someone to look at. I want to shoot it like them. Because obviously 3-pointers have been a part of the game since, the 1970s? But people weren't going out there being like, I'm only going to shoot this shot. Why? It was like, you got to knock down your free throws. You got to knock down your layups. You got to knock down the mid-range, the post, do all that stuff. And then there'd be some, random people like Larry Bird, where I was like, whoa, this guy's really good at this. But also, I still kind of want to be like Kareem. And then this dude named Magic was playing, and it was like, I got to pass like Magic, all this stuff. And then Jordan came in and was like, I don't need to shoot threes. Let me be like Mike. Now it's all about shooting like Steph. We see all the highlights every single day, it seems like. There's some kid in some like rec league or, AAU, and everyone gets mad and they're like, look at what Steph Curry has done to the game of basketball. And Steph's like, I didn't tell you to shoot that shot. And it's some random like 38-footer by some 9-year-old. Why are they shooting that shot? That is because of Steph Curry. That's not because more threes are being shot in the NBA. It's because Steph Curry shoots and makes them. And he does them in the biggest moments, and that's what inspires people to try and work on their game. That is what puts you on the Mount Rushmore. It's not about being great at basketball. Because there are a lot of people better at the game of basketball than Steph Curry. I think the biggest one that I can say is Tim Duncan. Nobody wants to be like Tim Duncan. Maybe you do want to be like Tim Duncan. If you want to be like Tim Duncan, shout out to you. I fully respect you. But that's not the model kids want to look after. Kids get into basketball because of Steph Curry. I hated Steph Curry originally. I was an OKC fan. I was like, man, this Steph Curry dude's so overrated. I'm watching him, and then like 2015, I was like, nah, this dude's not overrated. This dude is something else. And he has changed the game so much. And I don't know why people hate on. I think it's because maybe they're fans of other players. Maybe he hit some shot against your team. Steph Curry deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore because every kid, or most kids in the world, when they pick up a basketball, they step out to the 3-point line to shoot like Steph. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll be back again talking basketball next Wednesday, but I'll be back talking football on Monday. Let me know what you